I want to start this deep dive with a question that frankly felt a little too personal when I first read it in our source material. In the last month, maybe even just this week, have you felt like the world is moving significantly faster than your brain can actually process?
Oh, absolutely. It's the defining sensation of the moment, isn't it? It's not just busy. It's it's a kind of cognitive lag.
Cognitive lag, that's it. It's that feeling of displacement. We are living through this massive structural shift. AI is writing the emails, it's analyzing the data.
It's building the slide decks.
Right. And for you listening, especially if you're, say, a female founder or running a corporate team, there is a specific underlying anxiety. You feel like you need to learn 10 new tools a week just to stay viable.
It's the hamster wheel effect on hyperspeed.
Hmm.
And that is exactly where we're going to focus today. We're
Yep.
unpacking a keynote talk called The Inner Upgrade by Dr. Ya. And I think it's important to frame who she is right away because
Yeah.
the title might sound a bit wellnessy,
Hmm.
but her background is anything but.
She's a professor of business analytics, an AI consultant.
Exactly. She comes from the hard sciences.
Mm.
Data, logic, algorithms. But she's delivering this message that is aimed squarely at professional women and leaders who are just burning out trying to keep pace with the machines.
And her core thesis is so counterintuitive in a world where everyone is obsessing over, which app to buy or which prompt course to take.
She argues the most powerful upgrade isn't software,
It's the mind.
the mind itself. And, we have to be clear, this isn't some think positive motivational speech. She is arguing that ancient wisdom, specifically the mechanics of meditation, actually underpins the working methods of history's greatest innovators.
It's about upgrading the operating system, not just frantically downloading more apps.
That's the perfect analogy. So let's get into the specifics, because she sets this scene with a morning routine that I think is going to make a lot of people just wince with recognition.
Oh, yeah.
She calls it the information calorie problem. She describes the modern morning. You wake up, and before your feet even hit the floor, you've grabbed the phone.
30 notifications. At
Yeah.
least.
Slack is pinging, the news is screaming, and she points out that by the time a modern professional finishes breakfast, they have consumed more data points than a person in the 1500s did.
In their entire lifetime, that statistic. It just floors me every time.
It's staggering. But the interesting part isn't just the volume, it's our reaction to it. When we feel overwhelmed or the boss asks for an AI strategy, what do? We try to consume more.
We assume the solution to drowning is to drink more water. It's like, I need to read 5 more articles or I've got to take that crash course.
Exactly. But Dr. Ya makes this crucial distinction here. She says, we are drowning in information, but starving for wisdom. And in the context of your career, those are two opposing forces.
And this is where she brings in a framework that really anchors the whole talk. It's what, 2,600 years old?
About that, yeah. She references the concept of Paññā, which is the Pali word for wisdom. And she breaks it down into 3 distinct levels. This, for me, was the real aha moment, because it explains perfectly why so many high performers feel replaceable right now.
It really does. It maps the whole landscape of human value.
So let's walk through them. Level 1,
Level 1 is called Bhavanamaya Paññā.
which is roughly knowledge from listening and reading.
Yes, or as Dr. Ya calls it, no remember. This is the level where you recall facts, you repeat what you've heard, you cite research. It's rote learning. And she points out a pretty hard truth here. This is where most of our education system stops.
And most corporate training, too.
For sure. And the problem is, if you're operating at level 1, you are basically a biological hard drive. You are a storage device.
And that is a really dangerous place to be today.
The most dangerous. Because AI is a significantly better hard drive than you will ever be. ChatGPT can out-memorize any human on Earth. So if your career value is built on just knowing the specs or knowing the regulations,
You're competing directly with a machine that has perfect memory and never gets tired.
you're bringing a knife to a nuclear fight. So that pushes us up the ladder to level 2.
Right. Bhavanamaya Paññā.
Knowledge from thinking and analyzing.
The no-think level. This is where I'd guess 90% of your successful listeners live. This is the realm of consultants, strategists, senior leaders. You aren't just repeating facts anymore. You're connecting the dots. You're asking why. You're building frameworks.
Dr. Ya mentions tools like mind maps, strategic brainstorming. All those are level 2 activities. They organize logic. And for the last 50 years, this was the safe zone. This was where humans had the edge.
But here's the warning she issues, and it's a serious one. The gap is shrinking. We used to think computers couldn't do strategy, But AI is getting surprisingly good at synthesis.
It can find patterns in financial data faster than a whole team of analysts.
Exactly. It can reason through logic chains. It's not perfect, but it is catching up. So if you define yourself as a thinker or an analyzer, you are still in the danger zone.
Not safe yet. Which brings us to the Holy Grail, level 3.
Bhavanamaya Paññā.
Knowledge from inner stillness.
Or, as Dr. Yo puts it, no clear.
Okay, this is the one that felt the most abstract to me at first. It sounds a little mystical.
It does, but she grounds it really, really well.
Yeah.
She defines this as wisdom that doesn't come from reading.
That's level 1.
And it doesn't even come from logical deduction.
Level 2.
It arises from silence, from clarity. It's a direct, intuitive seeing of reality.
And she argues this is the only sustainable competitive advantage we have left.
It's the ultimate advantage. Because think about AI's architecture. It's a prediction engine. It generates noise. It creates content. But it cannot be still.
It can't be studied.
It can't access intuition. It can't exercise judgment based on a clear, quiet mind. It just processes.
Dr. Ya uses a specific term for this capacity that I think is just brilliant. She calls it knowing weather.
Yes, the knowing weather. I love that.
Yeah.
AI can tell you how to do a marketing campaign. It can tell you if a merger can be done financially. But only a human with that level 3 wisdom can determine whether it should be done.
Is it right? Is it ethical? Does it align with our purpose? That's the human edge.
It's the difference between intelligence and wisdom. AI has near infinite intelligence. Wisdom is the scarce resource. And in economics, value always flows to what's scarce.
Okay, now, I know there are skeptics listening. I'm one of them, naturally. You hear, sitting in silence is going to save my career, and you think...
Okay, sure, but I have deadlines.
Exactly. And Dr. Ya anticipates that. That's why she doesn't stay in the philosophical realm. She pivots right to hard history. She looks at the people we consider the undisputed geniuses of Western science. Einstein, Newton, Steve Jobs. And she shows that their breakthroughs didn't come from level 2 grinding. They came from level 3 stillness.
The Einstein example was so fascinating because we have this caricature of him, right? Frantically writing equations, hair wild, chalk dust everywhere. But that's not what his colleagues saw. Dr. Ya recounts how Einstein would actually tell people that logic alone could not find universal laws. He believed in intuition. His colleagues described him pacing, twirling his hair, entering what they called a trance-like state.
So it wasn't about straining the brain.
No strain at all, just quiet. When he discovered general relativity, the biggest leap in physics, he didn't do it by crunching more numbers. He locked himself in his study for 2 weeks to just sit, to be still.
Yeah.
And when he came out, he handed his wife 2 sheets of paper and said, "Here it is."
That's wild. The idea that peak productivity looks like doing nothing is just so foreign to us. She does the same thing with the Isaac Newton myth, the apple falling on his head.
Right. The story we all learn is that the apple fell and bam, instant gravity.
Yeah.
But Dr. Ya clarifies the apple just planted the question. The answer came from hours and hours of motionless sitting and visualization.
She actually quotes him. He said, "I wait until the first light begins to appear, until it becomes clear and complete."
He would sit so still for so long that when the idea finally hit, he'd just leap up and start writing without even grabbing a chair. It wasn't about thinking harder. It was about stopping the noise so the answer could arrive.
And then, of course, the modern example, Steve Jobs.
A rigorous practitioner. He meditated for 2 hours a day.
2 hours? That seems like an insane amount of time for the CEO of Apple. How do you even justify that on a timesheet?
I think you justify it by looking at the results. Jobs himself credited his intuition, that level 3 clarity, as being more powerful than intellect. He knew logic could only take you where everyone else was going. To build something truly new, like the iPhone, you need that flash of insight. You have to see what isn't there yet.
There's one more story she tells about Dr. Gates and Napoleon Hill. I hadn't heard this one, but it really nails the pattern.
Yeah, Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, he goes to interview this brilliant inventor, Dr. Gates, and the secretary stops him. She says, "You can't go in. He's sitting for ideas."
Sitting for ideas! I just love that phrase. It's so active, but also so passive.
Hill waits for hours. Finally, Gates comes out and shows him his lab. And it's just a soundproof, pitch-black room, a chair, paper, and a pencil. That's it. When he was stuck, he wouldn't grind. He'd go into the dark, turn off his senses, and sit for hours until the ideas flooded in.
The pattern is just undeniable. These weren't people who outworked everyone. They learned how to stop working to access something deeper.
And that's the paradox Dr. Ya presents. The world tells us to speed up to catch AI, but the geniuses slow down to surpass it.
So this brings us to Dr. Ya's own story. because she's not just an observer here, she lived it. She talks about her life as a professor of data and logic.
She was the quintessential level 2 professional. Read more, analyze deeper, push through the burnout. And, well, she hit a wall, complete burnout. Her mind was just racing all day and processing all night.
I think a lot of us can relate to that feeling. You're exhausted, but the brain just will not shut down.
Oh, absolutely. It's cognitive inflammation. So she started meditating daily, and she lists 3 specific changes. First, her thinking got sharper. She says she was thinking less, but seeing more.
She used that analogy of focused light, didn't she?
Yes, a scattered light bulb barely warms your hand. Focused light, a laser can cut through steel. Meditation focused her mental energy.
And the second thing was accessing that level 3 intuition. But the third thing, I have to admit, this one surprised me. She said she started looking younger.
5 to 10 years younger. And she's clear, this isn't vanity, it's biology. She calls it radiance. When the mind is balanced, stress hormones like cortisol drop, inflammation goes down. The ancient texts actually talk about this physical radiance that comes from a pure, still mind.
So, better strategy and better skin. It's a pretty compelling sales pitch for the wellness entrepreneurs listening.
It's the ultimate wellness package, healing the system from the inside out.
Okay, but let's bring this back to the boardroom because Dr. Ya is very clear. This isn't just about personal wellness. This is a survival strategy for the AI era.
100%. She outlines 3 human skills that are essential for thriving, and none of them are learned Python.
Right. Skill number 1 is vision.
Think about it. AI is an execution engine. It's a Ferrari. It can go anywhere incredibly fast, but it needs a driver. It needs a human to point it in the right direction. And that clarity of vision, knowing what problem to solve, that comes from wisdom, not data.
Skill 2, management.
Specifically, managing hybrid teams of humans and AI. That requires incredibly high EQ. It requires the ability to stay calm when everything is moving at light speed. Meditation is literally the gym for emotional regulation.
And skill 3, coming back to her big concept, ethical judgment.
The knowing whether. We're entering a world where AI can clone voices, generate fake video, manipulate markets. The most valuable person becomes the one who knows when not to act.
The safety brake. It requires a human conscience and a still mind.
She says power without wisdom is dangerous, and AI is pure, unadulterated power. And if we hook that up to a panicked level 1 mind, that's a recipe for disaster.
Okay, so I think we've established the why. We need to upgrade the mind. We need to get to level 3. The question is how. And I love that Dr. Ya gives us 3 really practical starting points.
No monastery required, just practice. Step 1 is 5 minutes of stillness.
Just 5. That almost feels too easy.
It's not about duration, it's about placement. The timing is non-negotiable. It has to be before the world gets in, before email, before the phone. She says to sit and let the mind settle, like muddy water clearing.
That image really stuck with me. You know, if you have a glass of muddy water and you keep stirring it, it stays cloudy. But if you just leave it alone, the dirt settles and you can see through it.
And that's what we do to our brains with notifications all day. We're constantly stirring the water. We never let the sediment settle. So step 1 is just let it settle every morning.
Step 2 is the pause.
This is for big decisions. When you face a complex problem, resist the urge to analyze right away. Don't jump to the whiteboard. Step away. Bring the problem inside and just sit with it quietly.
She mentioned an engineer who was advised by a Thai meditation teacher to do exactly that. Bring your work inside.
It sounds inefficient, but it's about trusting that the answer's already there if you can just get quiet enough to hear it.
And step 3 is an analogy that I think frames the whole discussion perfectly. OS versus apps.
This is the critical mindset shift. We need to stop treating our brains like hard drives and start treating them like operating systems. Learning AI tools, ChatGPT, Midjourney, whatever, that's like installing new apps on your phone. It's useful.
But meditation, that's upgrading the operating system.
Exactly. And if your OS is buggy, overloaded, and constantly crashing, it doesn't matter how great the new app is. It's not going to work. We spend all our time and money collecting apps and almost no time maintaining the OS.
It's such a powerful way to look at it. We're trying to run this sophisticated 2026 software on a brain that's panicked, fragmented, and running on a 2010 operating system.
And Dr. Ya's message is that you can't think your way out of a fragmented mind. You have to be your way out of it. You have to stop.
It all comes down to that paradox she ends with. The world screams, move faster, but the most powerful move is actually to slow down.
Because a scattered mind produces scattered results. A still mind produces brilliance. That really is the takeaway.
She leaves us with a pretty provocative question at the end. It completely turns the common excuse on its head. It's not, do you have time to meditate?
No. The real question is, given the stakes, your career, your health, your ability to lead in this new world, can you afford not to?
Can you afford not to? That is going to stay with me. It frames stillness not as a luxury, but as a necessary cost for high performance.
It's the ultimate ROI calculation.
Well, I think I'm going to take 5 minutes of stillness before I even think about my email after this.
I think that's a very wise decision.
Thank you all for listening to this deep dive into the inner upgrade. We hope it gave you permission to stop, breathe, and maybe access a little bit of that level 3 wisdom.
Lit.
We'll see you on the next one.
Stay wise.